Alright, so here we go, guys. I'm actually going to show you a step-by-step guide to playing the F chord on the guitar. I know this is kind of a difficult chord to play, so you kind of want to break this down in a sort of a step-by-step way, and that's usually how it is when you're trying to learn parts on guitar. You don't want to try to go for the full thing because usually your fingers don't cooperate and they don't want to play what they're really supposed to play. So instead you want to kind of try to prep them up. You want to prep your fingers and sort of give them smaller portions of the exercise to sort of get down, and then once you got these little pieces, you connect them all together, you can kind of play the full thing at the end a lot better than if you just tried to do it straight to the full part. So let's take a look here at the first little tiny F chord that I think that you should probably try to play. If this is the first time you've ever played an F chord, you just take one finger and you're going to put it across two strings here. As you can see right here in this image, we have a 1 and a 1. That's one finger squeezing two strings right there. And those are the only two strings you're going to play. So down here, you're going to pick those two, whoop, and you get that little sound. And that's an F chord. I mean, it's not a full F chord, but it's an F chord. So it sounds pretty close to this. It's just a small version of it. So, with just one finger, you can actually play the F chord. And you can also do that with some of these other easy chords. This is a G right there. That would be a C. So these different types of chords you can play with just one finger, and that's going to make it playing these chords so much easier than if you try to do the full shape all at once. Well, you know, it's better to sort of break these apart and do them a little bit at a time. So that's the one finger F chord. Now after that, you want to try to get into the sort of the three finger F, because that's going to be sort of the next easiest one to do. That's going to be, and try to play only these three strings. So as you can see right here, this is the first finger on the second string, second finger, third finger, and it's just kind of like this little staircase. So 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip the first string. We're not going to play the first string. Only those three strings. Just like that. It should be pretty easy to play this. So you get this nice little F chord there. You kind of switch between those two. So you got this one, and you just got the one finger, and this one. So that way, you can kind of play these chords a little bit. Once you get used to that, the next step is going to be to move to a two-finger F chord. And you're going to use one finger here to squeeze. So now you want to start getting this bar involved. Let's try to add the middle finger to this. So now we're playing this one over here on the left with one finger across these two strings and trying to add that middle finger on top. And this is tough because you're not going to be able to, you might not be able to hear these three strings here. It might just, one of them might not sound very good. So that's why you want to go back to one finger, back to the three finger one, and the one finger, and then try the two finger one. So you want to switch between these different shapes to help you get used to it. Alright, now the final, the next step here is going to be adding one more finger. If you can manage to get two fingers, you might be able to get three. So you get a bar, and then two more fingers. So you got 4 notes here. It's a nice little bar. That is technically the biggest F that I would want to play. I'll honestly usually use the 3-finger F, but usually I guess you'd probably want to throw in that first note as well. So this is going to be the most common chords, these two right here, to play the F chord. You don't really want to be playing the full shape too much, and we'll go into that in just a moment. But let's go further. What if you wanted some other different ways to practice the F? Because there are more ways to practice the F chord. We have different inversions. This is a common method that you usually find out there. With 1, 2, 4, and 3, this is going to be sort of this other type of way to play it. But that, not easy. Why? Because you have to get 4 fingers down all of a sudden. And now it's like in this weird position, so it's not easy to play this. I mean, for me it's okay, but it's going to be really difficult to play this F chord. Alright, so, that one's kind of hard, but as long as you can play these ones, these two are going to be the best. Alright, and this one's the one that you really want to get good at because you've got the bar, you've got the 3 notes. This one's the perfect shape, so you just play this one. Beautiful F chord. Now, if you go to this one, it's not really going to sound much different. You have this extra note to give it this this deeper feel, but I mean, is it really that different? A little bit. Anyway, over here, this is the next level, so if you could play it this way, then you might be able to play it this way. 4 fingers again. This is the index finger here, 2 fingers here, then we have that one. Well, these two methods, you want to switch between them. So you have some different methods to play. And the only thing that moves is the first finger here, so the other 3 just stay still. So you switch. Okay. Now these 2 methods here are not going to be that useful. Alright, they're only for practicing a little bit, maybe for prepping your fingers for the next step, but they're not something you want to really be playing too much, okay? Again, stick to just these 2. And the final F chord is going to be the full bar chord. So you want to have the whole finger here, and it's really going to be hard to do this. And then you're going to squeeze all that stuff. So if you've gone through all these steps, you might be able to play this. But it takes a lot of strength to squeeze this entire string here, all the fingers across. And so this bar is not really going to be, like, it's going to take time for you to develop that muscle. And so, don't really expect to be able to do this on your first try. So you're gonna really have to try to play these chords over a long period of time, and then work on all the different shapes. If you can play all the different shapes, you could possibly play this full bar chord here. Okay, so those are kind of the different ways to play the F chord. And again, the cool thing about this bar chord is that well, not only can you play it anywhere, right? You can move it, and all these chords. You can actually move all these chords, but transposition is a different concept. But if the cool thing about this chord is that you don't really usually need to play this. Like I said, these are the 2 F that you want to really get good at, and the other F shapes are not as useful. This full bar chord is actually not very good to play in music, because if you're going to be playing with other instruments, then you don't want to be taking all that space. This is taking a lot of space. It's this huge chord. But if you take a listen to this one, it's a smaller chord. So if you're playing with other instruments, the smaller chord shape is going to be more compatible, so you can play more instruments together. Alright, so hopefully you've sort of gotten some of these F chord shapes. It's very difficult, and there's also other common problems that would happen that are probably going to prevent you from doing all these steps. Okay, there's little adjustments that you might need to make to your fingers and all sorts of other things. So it's better if it's better if I sort of told you how to put your fingers into certain places. So if you want some lessons, go ahead and sign up at www.virtualguitarlesson.com. I'll see you around.